Another tariff threat, another industry. This time, it's Canadian-made aircraft in Donald Trump's crosshairs. The U.S. president demanding some U.S.-made private jets be certified by Canada. Otherwise, Trump says he'll tariff Canadian-made planes at 50%, plus decertify them, singling out Bombardier in particular. In a statement, Bombardier said it's actively investing in expanding our U.S. operations and added, "We hope this is quickly resolved to avoid a significant impact to air traffic and the flying public."
Wait, that was...
Canada's industry minister says when Trump tweets, the government doesn't panic.
It is our understanding that the certification process is well underway and that the certification demands were absolutely recent. So, meanwhile, the certification process is something that we don't politicize.
The union representing Bombardier workers called Trump's ultimatum unjustified and dangerous.
We should never forego safety and security. These certifications are important in the aerospace industry and for air transportation, so they're necessary.
And U.S. operators use thousands of Canadian aircraft.
You would actually, in essence, completely halt air transportation in the United States. You'd paralyze the United States if he was to go through with this.
One Canadian expert calls Transport Canada's approval process world-class.
They'll take their time. They'll take the time required to, in fact, make sure the airplane is safe for Canadians and for that airplane to operate in Canada. So it is not illegal that Transport Canada is taking its time. It is part of its regular process.
Despite how Trump worded his post, sources tell CBC News he would only decertify new aircraft. However, the U.S. president has made economic threats on social media before and not actually followed through. Anis Haidari, CBC News, Toronto.
It's been a rough day for hundreds of GM workers in Ontario. They're now officially out of work as the company ends its third shift. Colin Butler with the message they're sending to Ottawa and what Ottawa has to say to GM.
It's a cold morning, but when it's your last shift, it feels colder still.
I still have a job. I just feel sad for everybody else.
And for workers at General Motors plant in Oshawa, Ontario, this doesn't just mean a change in schedule, it's a disruption of everything they've built.
I'm feeling disappointed that the third shift is gone. It's affecting a lot of families and lives.
GM says about 500 direct jobs are being cut, but Unifor says total impact climbs to 1,200 when suppliers are included. With the company reporting more than $12 billion in earnings, Unifor calls it a betrayal. And some workers pushed their anger past the factory gates all the way to Ottawa and Prime Minister Mark Carney.
He's been in office for a while, and he has done zero.
Ottawa put up to $259 million into GM, matched by Ontario to support GM jobs in Oshawa and Ingersoll. The Ingersoll plant shut down in October. Now Ottawa says it wants its money back.
I had a meeting yesterday with people from GM, and I told them that we would be getting our money back.
It's another blow to Ontario's battered auto sector, rattled by U.S. trade policy. There have also been job cuts at Stellantis in Windsor and Brampton, and an investment by Honda in Alliston was paused.
There's no question it's a rapidly changing market, and the whole industry is operating in an environment of complete uncertainty.
Take care.
The industry is calling for a plan, so the question now is whether Ottawa can turn that into something workers can count on. Colin Butler, CBC News, London, Ontario.
New GDP numbers are giving us a look at the state of Canada's economy after almost a year of U.S. tariff uncertainty. Let's go to Peter Armstrong in Toronto for more. Peter, we just heard about layoffs at GM and threats to the aerospace industry. How do these GDP numbers fit into all of this?
You know, we were expecting these numbers to be pretty rough, right around 0%, a bit above, a bit below. And November was just that, no growth at all. But it was the preliminary estimates for December showing just 0.1% growth that stood out. And that all told means probably the economy contracted through the fourth quarter. And, you know, those layoffs at GM, the threats at Bombardier, that's the story here, right? Business investment is bleeding out. from the auto sector especially, and those threats to the aerospace industry, they're not really about private jets. They're about injecting more of that uncertainty into the investment environment. And the source of that is clear. We saw manufacturing fell, wholesale trade shrank. The trade-sensitive sectors are getting clobbered, and we expect the economy is only going to grow like 1% over the rest of this year, with those CUSMA free trade review coming just up this summer.
Okay, so Peter, markets hate uncertainty, so the TSX sold off sharply today. What has investors so nervous?
So on the TSX, it's kind of a combination of uncertainties, the latest threats of tariffs and the GDP report, but it's also part of this broader sell-off to reacting to President Trump's nomination of Kevin Warsh to be the next head of the central bank, the Federal Reserve.
And so why does Warsh's nomination add to the uncertainty?
Well, Trump wanted a Fed chair that had cut rates. He nominated Jerome Powell during his first term to do that, but is now fighting with Powell because he's not cutting rates fast enough. So everybody thought Trump was going to appoint somebody keen to cut rates, and Warsh is not that. He's got a long track record of keeping rates high to control inflation. So markets are kind of wondering, are we back to where we started with the president warring with the Fed chair for the next 3 years?
All right, thanks for this. Peter Armstrong in Toronto tonight.